70-year backlog of failing streets in need of repair and that we need more creative, cost-saving solutions to a $4 billion problem. Well, here's a chance for LA students to express their most artistic selves and get a chance at some scholarship prizes. The Getty Museum has teamed up with the LA Promise Fund to kick off a student art contest and get more Angelenos making and liking art. Anna Marcos takes us to Manual Arts High School in South LA.
It's the start of the school day at Manual Arts High School, and today art of all kinds is on the curriculum. The Getty Museum's Pacific Standard Time LA and LA project aims to get museums and schools to spread the love of art so more Angelenos take part. This year's theme, Latino Art in LA.
I've loved this. A lot of kids are trying out the drums for the first time. It's just art. It's a way to express yourself. A lot of kids are suppressed from that.
The Getty Museum is partnering with the LA Promise Fund to kick off the student contest, where students themselves create art through spray painting, sketching, writing, music, spoken word, and digital media.
The competition is really centered around a prompt. LA is blank, MILA. So the answer to that can be funny, serious, sad, scary, controversial, political, and that's the whole point, is LA is something different to everybody.
Most of these kids have no idea yet what they're going to do for a contest entry. And as you can see, I have no idea what I'm doing, but this certainly provides a lot of food for thought.
Some began brainstorming ideas on the spot.
If I had any ideas, it would be something with nature. I love nature.
Something about a kid that's from poverty, making it out.
Sounds that you would hear from walking down the street in LA or walking around Manual Arts, and you would hear like so many different genres of music, and I would try to incorporate that into visual arts, so through videos, and you can see wow, LA is just so diverse.
Sky's the limit in this contest, the art defined only by your own imagination. Some do it for the love of art, some for the $30,000 in scholarship prizes. Whichever it is, the contest runs through the fall, and any Angeleno student can enter. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
For guidelines on the contest, visit lapromisefund.org/artsmatter. From appreciating art to appreciating Mother Nature, as a new water garden in Montecito Heights is helping students connect with the world around them. Rasha Goel has more.
It's an opportunity to explore the environment and connect with nature in Los Angeles. The new Children's Woodland Native Garden at the Ernest E. Debs Regional Park has been designed to give kids the chance to learn about saving water, the local habitat, and history of the Arroyo Seco region.
We're just cutting the ribbon on a new garden that will keep them in touch with their nature, with their history. It'll create an environment for people to have respite.
The Water Conservation Learning Garden is a collaboration between the Metropolitan Water District, LA Conservation Corps, and the Audubon Center at the park. The components of the 1,000 square foot native garden also reflect an integral part of LA's history.
There's a hut that they had developed and created that is sort of a rendition of something that they used to live in. And then their mural behind them kind of showcases how they view the earth, from everything from the celestial to all the animals and stuff that they're used to, and of course the native vegetation that now exists here.
This was an area that where the Tongva lived, and the resources with the LA River and the Arroyo Seco, the confluence, it was very rich in energy, but also resources.
Along with some lessons, kids also got the chance to kick around with LA Galaxy goalkeeper Brian Rowe. He recalls his experience of enjoying the outdoors while growing up.
This is kind of my refuge. Coming home from school was always great, going with friends to parks and just kind of playing around and just being outside, which is great.
Hopefully this park will also leave these young ones with fond memories. But one thing's for sure, they are leaving today with an important message. I'm Rasha Goel for LA This Week.
If you own your own business, then you know how important it is to keep up with the latest technology. It sure is a lot of work, but the good news is that it doesn't have to be expensive. In fact, some of the technology can come free. Latina entrepreneurs and any new business owner for that matter learned a lot from a recent conference in downtown, a gathering where the word nerd is a compliment. Gil Reyes has more.
Daniela Lima is founder and CEO of For You By You Fashion. The company designs what they call the perfect garments.
We find out about the client's taste, lifestyle, and together we develop, it can be the one outfit or it can be the entire wardrobe.
Lima is one of the 100 or so mostly female business owners here for the Latina Nerd Tech and Business Workshop. In this case, nerd means tech expert, and that's a good thing. In California, Latina-owned businesses have surged 111% since the Great Recession. This forum, hosted by Latina Nerd founder Zitlalik Ley, aims to ensure that women are knowledgeable about branding, marketing, and technology.
We need to ensure that our Latino community are aware of technology has a lot of power in their business. A lot of people are very scared to use it because they think, they think it's very difficult to use it, and technology is actually very easy to use.
She asked me to come and speak and teach people about opening up their business and learning how to ship their products, learning how to advertise and what places to go online.
Phil Pench of DHL e-commerce urges business owners to take advantage of free social media for advertisement.
You need Instagram or Facebook. And how do you get those orders? What is your audience?
Another tip, free website builders like Wix.com, which created the For You By You site, by the way. And there are more pointers.
As everyone knows, cybercrime is on the rise, so I will be talking about the types of different security issues and how to protect ourselves from cybercrime.
Business owners are urged to keep data encrypted, avoid storing sensitive information, and always use strong passwords to thwart hackers. All good tips at the conference, not to mention the chance to network.
The people that we speak to, so it's always a great opportunity.
At the second annual Latina Nerd Tech and Business Workshop, I'm Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
The event was supported by LA Mayor Eric Garcetti's Office of Economic Development. Well, LA is becoming more and more a bilingual city, and now one children's theater is going bilingual too. Anna Marcos takes us to a special performance of Aladdin in Councilmember Gil Cedillo's district.
A little hocus pocus and a whole new Aladdin pops out of the genie bottle at the Los Angeles Theater Center. This is Disney's Aladdin Dual Language Edition.
This show is a little different than the Walt Disney Aladdin that we know.
More than 200 enthusiastic school kids have come to see the unique Spanish and English themed show. The performance, put on with help from Councilmember Gil Cedillo's office, helps honor the downtown area's bilingual flavor.
I think it's pretty cool because everybody is going to be able to understand it if they know English or Spanish or they know both.
I'm forward to seeing all the actors dancing and singing, and it's just really cool how there is in Spanish and in English.
Oh, but the plot in this Aladdin story thickens.
Jafar, the bad guy, he wished that this city of Agrabah, which was bilingual, Spanish-English, he wished that only people in the palace could speak Spanish, people in the towns could only speak English, so we could have more control. So when Aladdin meets Jasmine in the marketplace, they can't communicate.
But worry not, the lovers' animals are bilingual, and in the end, the couple falls in love in both languages. Even better, the audience comes away enriched by the power of love and a little more proficient in both English and Spanish. Oh yeah, and they even get a little red carpet time. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
A new residential high-rise will soon be taking shape in downtown LA, and it may be more affordable than you think. LA Mayor Eric Garcetti promotes the city as a top tourist destination, and Council President Herb Wesson wants to make it easier to do business in the city by connecting business leaders with city staff. All these stories in City Beat. A groundbreaking ceremony was held for a $300 million condominium skyscraper that a Chinese developer is building in the historic Broadway Theater District in downtown LA. The intersection at Broadway and 4th Street is part of a 6-block stretch of downtown that's home to a dozen movie theaters built between 1910 and 1931. The 35-story Perla condo and retail complex at 400 South Broadway is the Broadway District's first new residential high-rise since the turn of the century. Los Angeles City Councilman Jose Huizar has been spearheading efforts to rejuvenate the area over the last few years.
It's not the high-end luxury condos that we've seen come up. It's going to be a mid-range so that people from all income levels could come and hopefully be able to live in one of the fastest growing areas in Los Angeles.
Mayor Eric Garcetti gave remarks and was joined by Acting Mayor Jen Qining of Beijing, Ottawa Mayor Jim Watson, and other leaders from around the globe at the 2017 World Tourism Cities Federation Summit. The summit attracted about 400 delegates from 51 countries and 87 cities. The goal was to promote collaboration among the countries to further boost the tourism industry worldwide.
We all want visitors. We all want to show off our home. But we don't want extra traffic or extra pollution. And if we share the best practices of our cities together, we can welcome millions of people in our cities and in our countries, while at the same time doing well for the people who live there as well.
The Korean American Chamber of Commerce of Los Angeles, Council President Herb Wesson, and several other council members came together at City Hall for the second annual Meet the City. Wesson says the gathering provides an opportunity for community business leaders to meet city employees and learn how the city operates.
We represent you, and we want to make sure, as Council President said, it's about access, not just through me or the Council President or the Mayor, but access through everyone.
It's a chance for LA students and teachers to discover their more theatrical side. LA Center Theater Group just received a Disney Musicals in Schools grant to help students tap, dance, and sing their way onto the stage. Anna Marcos joins us from the stage where some of the magic will happen. Anna.
Yana, we are not allowed to show you the stage here at the Mark Taper Forum due to union rules, but this grant will allow students from 10 LA area elementary schools to get on a world-class stage over the next 2 years. It's taken over the stage in other cities, and now for the first time, the Disney Musicals in Schools grant will help the Center Theater Group bring more arts and theater to the stage at LA's elementary schools.
So it's about, making sure that we have future artists and that they represent the diversity of our community.
The $100,000 grant will allow the Center Theater Group, which runs the Mark Taper and 2 other theaters, to train school teachers to mount, choreograph, and produce musical theater with their elementary school students. The schools will come from mostly LA's low-income areas.
It really supports teachers at their campuses becoming expert in mounting musicals. So even after the work with Center Theater Group is done, that program and that learning and that knowledge will live on at that school, and we'll have more and more generations of young people learning about musical theater, participating in musical theater, and hopefully becoming audiences for musical theater.
To cap off a year of theater learning, kids from each school will then perform a scene from their project at the world-renowned Mark Taper Forum, known for its cutting-edge performances like Zoot Suit. These Disney performances are no Zoot Suit, but they draw some very enthusiastic audiences.
It is a thrill for me to see what happens when these kids get on the stage and suddenly find that they're surrounded by theatrical production. They have all the lights, they have the sound, there's the video. It's very exciting for them.
Any LAUSD or LA County school can be considered for the program. But if you're a teacher interested in applying, the deadline is coming up on October 5th. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
For more information, visit ctgla.org, scroll down the page, and click on Disney Musicals in Schools. Well, help keep your local parks clean by joining a neighborhood cleanup. Take part in a 2K walk run while helping out a good cause. And it's that time again to explore your city on 2 wheels. All this in this week's Things to Do. Grab your sneakers and gloves and join your neighbors and friends for a neighborhood cleanup at Moon Canyon. The whole family is invited to take part. Do your part to help keep our parks clean. It all takes place Saturday, October 7th from 9 to 11 a.m. at Moon Canyon, located at 911 North Museum Drive. Join the Village Family Services and Councilmember Paul Krikorian for a 2K Walk, Run, and Family Festival to raise awareness about youth homelessness. The event will provide a fun, low-cost activity for families, and the funds raised will direct children and youth toward community service and engagement. Here's your chance to show solidarity with the thousands of children and youth who call the streets their home each night. The festival takes place Sunday, October 8th from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. at North Hollywood Park. For more info, visit takeonthestreets.com.
Bicycle, bicycle.
Get ready for the annual Heart of LA route as Ciclavia returns to Chinatown, downtown LA, Echo Park, and Boyle Heights. Streets will be closed to cars and open for cyclists, pedestrians, runners, and skaters to use as a recreational space. The next Ciclavia takes place Sunday, October 8th from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. And that's a look at some things to do. Well, that's going to do it for this edition. I'm Yana Kane from all of us here at LA This Week. Thanks for joining us. A reminder that you can catch us online at lacityview.org. You can also follow and like us on Facebook. We'll see you back here next week for more of LA This Week.
Hey, buddy! You with the stupid hat. Come here. Closer. No parking! Do you know what happens when you park illegally on these narrow hillside streets? You block the street so emergency vehicles can't pass. Each year, homes are destroyed and lives are lost because of drivers like you who park illegally! And you know what else? You can get a citation. And you can be towed.
Help us get to the emergency. The life we save just might be yours.
How'd you know?
The ball called.
Hey, look out for the pothole.
Hi, I'm Kevin from Chatsworth, offering you a taste of New Orleans since 1986. You're watching LA City View, Channel 35. Our city, our channel.
Good morning. Good morning. If all would please take your seats. Today is Wednesday, October 4th. I want to welcome you to the Los Angeles City Council. Mr. Clerk, we do have a quorum. Would you call the roll?
Blumenfield, Bona, Buscaino, Sodillo, Engler, Harris, Dawson, Weezer, Carrasco, Corin, Martinez, O'Farrell, Price, Rodriguez, Rue, Wesson. 10 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you. First order of business.
Approval of the minutes.
Weezer moves, Englander seconds. Next.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Rue moves, Blumenfield seconds. Continue.
Mr. President, the Department of Building and Safety recommends that items 1B, 1H, and 1L be received and filed inasmuch as the liens have been paid in full. The department further recommends that item 1P be continued to November 3rd. And lastly, there is a request from member to continue item 11 to this Friday, October 6th.
Okay, so without objection, so ordered. Continue.
Mr. President, that brings us to items 1 through 13. There are items.
Cards?
Yes, sir. Cards on items 1, 2, and 8.
Okay, let's hold those items and vote on the remaining. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
One, two.
Okay, tally. 10 eyes. Just do it. 10 eyes.
And what was that, 10 eyes? Okay, continue.
Mr. President, items 14 through 38 are items for which public hearings have been held.
Okay, on these items, let's prepare to vote. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 eyes.
And Mr. President, those ordinances, those being items 14 and 15, will go over 1 week for a second read unless reconsidered later with 10 members.
Okay, and item 16 you want reconsidered, Mr. Buscaino?
Enthusiastically, yes. Item
okay,
16,
on
please.
item 16, let's have a vote for reconsideration. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 eyes.
Okay, we'll hold that.
Dawson, we'd like to call, actually, 38 to go forthwith. Right? 38 forthwith, please.
Without objection.
Thank you.
Continue. Mr.
I'm sorry, item 16 you wish to lay on the desk, sir?
Yes.
Very good. Items 39 through 42 are items for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes are required for consideration.
Okay, so without objection, those items are now before this body. You have cards?
Cards on all items, sir.
Okay, let us continue.
Mr. President, that brings us to items 43 through 45. They're items scheduled for closed session. Would you like to hold them on the desk?
I think we will hold them for now.
Very good, sir. That would take council back to presentations, item called special.
In fact, Mr. Clerk, it's my understanding we should, on the items 43, 44, and 45, that we hold 45, and that we can deal with the other two in open session. So would you read those?
Very good,
43
sir.
and 44.
For item 43 in the matter entitled Challenger Cable Sales Incorporated, there is a recommendation to refund $250,735.63 plus interest in overpaid taxes. For item 44 in the case entitled Christopher Eckstein et al. Versus City of Los Angeles, there is a recommendation to expend $675,000 in settlement.
Okay, so on these items, let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 eyes.
Okay, continue.
Mr. President, that takes council to presentations, item called special, or general public comment for items not on today's agenda.
Okay. Could you pull up Mr. Walsh on my screen? In fact, Mr. Price has arrived. Mr. Clerk, did you, was there a 12-vote item?
Yes,
Why don't
sir.
we deal with that because we have Mr. Price?
Those would be items 14 and 15 to be reconsidered, sir.
Okay, so let's vote on reconsideration. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 eyes.
Now we'll actually vote on the items. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, if I could get Mr. Walsh. Mr. Walsh, you have items 1A, B, and C, 2, 42, and general public comment.
Try to get up here fast enough for you. HollywoodHighlands.org, blogging at J. Walsh Confidential, tweeting at Hollywood Dems. 1A, these are liens. Again, when you do a good job, I'm the first to get on my knees and do the Bonin thing for you. For each
Let's
one
stay
of you.
on the subject.
You're doing a good job. That's the subject. What a good job you're doing. I get criticized for saying you're doing a good job. And this is on an agenda item. Okay, that's how much they hate me. Next is 1A, and then 1B. And then comes the next one, which is 2. This is lighting district. Again, excellent job on lighting. Better than any other city in the area. Try Glendale for bad lighting. Just try Glendale. It's in twilight 24 hours a day. Next, number 42. And number 42, this is resume hiring for positions funded through consolidated plan. You got to find the phrase here. Without the city of Los Angeles is at risk of inadequate monitoring that may lead to federal sanctions that may include the repayment of expended federal funds from non-federal sources such as the general fund. That's what we're worried about here. Now, I'm not the kind of guy who squeezes every goddamn second out. You can take the extra 50 seconds and shove them up your backsides. Next, we want to go into public comment, general public comment. Mr. Bonin is bleeding from the rectum. He took on the Jews. He took on the Jews on the freeway closing. He closed lanes. And you see what we Jews did to you. We fucked you in the ass. And you're bleeding from the ass. You spent 5 weeks recovering from how the Jews... Hey, you want to side with the bicyclists? Stick that up your ass, Bonin. But don't fuck with the Jews. Do not fuck with the Jews. And if you say one word against me, you're an anti-Semite, because the Jews fought for the right.
Stay on items that are under the purview of this body only, please, under even general public comment.
Are you a Jew?
You're not on items under the purview of this.
Okay.
That's your fair and final warning, Mr.
Right
Walsh.
Now that Bonin, you can suck Bonin's cock all
Okay,
you want.
you know what? All right,
topic.
your time is up. Thank you very much. Your time is up. Thank you very much. Mr. Herman, you know the rules. There's no clapping or applauding or disrupting this meeting. If you do it again, you're going to be asked to and escorted out immediately. Thank you very much. Next speaker, please, Mr. Previn. Mr. Previn? Going once? Oh, there he is. Mr. Previn, please stick to the items that you filled out cards for only. If you go off topic or do not speak to those items, as this is to all the speakers, then you'll forfeit your time. We'll go into general public comment. General public comment will be used for items that are only under the purview of this body. Thank you very much. Please start his time.
Thank you. It's Eric Previn from the second district, and today you've got 3 very special lighting district items in the 30s. I tried to glance at them because that's what you have on your agenda today, and what you have is a group called Santa Monica Properties Development LLC, who are just paying $109 for one light in CD11 over on Federal and Mississippi. You got 4 parcels owned by Cambiz Kohanim Trust et al., Elaine Kutrowski, Avalon Studios 77 LP, Avalon Bay Communities Inc., and a guy named Camden NoHo SPV LLC. Those are the, I believe it's about 11 lights on 4 parcels for a $8,400 assessment. And then the last one is in Mr. O'Farrell's district, Frogtown Village LLC, who owns all 8, I believe, of the parcels. But they are, and the assessment seems to have slipped off my computer here, but it's more, is my understanding, or less. But in any event, these are in connection with Proposition 218, and getting the lights put up is part of what we do. This process of having the hearings is weird because nobody ever shows up, and it's just a rollover. So I think, we should be paying more and better attention on that. So the other items that were on the permissible part of the agenda include, I believe, the one about 5400 Crenshaw that was just shoved through by Buscaino on a special expedited basis. That one I just wanted to circle because the city appraised it at 1.5, but no, 1.8, and then they got...
You're already speaking on a topic where public hearing was already satisfied, which wasn't a card that you filled out, which was qualified, which you have already been warned on, so we'll go ahead and start your 1 minute of general public comment.
No, I'm off.
You're already on your 1 minute anyway. Go ahead.
Mr. Englander, you can go get the money from Taser that they owe us for all of those body cams and the tasers. They're offering a refund to cities who asked for it.
If I had the taser with me now,
so you could ask for it. Mr. Blumenfield, we would appreciate it, sir, if you would clarify whether or not Channel 35 is coming to North Hollywood. We found out it's not being broadcast on the cable, which is Spectrum, so that's very, very strange. And David Rue, I'd like to thank you for the retention of records thing, but take a close look at item 38 today, the LAPD one. Because those are, or 25, item 25, because wow. And finally, we had a big rally in Studio City this morning, again, against the Harvard-Westlake Bridge project, which we are vigorously opposed. And I know you saw the article, huge, by my brother and I in City Watch LA this week. And finally, I just want to say thank you to Koretz, who's got his nose to the grindstone once again, this time for adjusting the price with Jameson LLC so that the benefit can be paid to him directly in his various next political campaigns. And we all wonder, will he run for 3rd District? We certainly hope so. But we're not sure. We're not sure if he'll do it because Martinez...
Always enlightening. Thank you very much. You're out of time. Thank you very much for being here. The next speaker, please, Antonio Ramirez. Antonia, welcome back. And Mr. Ramirez, if you can only please speak during your general public comment to matters that are only under the purview of this body. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, the city of Los Angeles is uninhabitable. We have an ugly, filthy, drug-trafficking, Chango Latino wetbacks and gang epidemic. Yes, Los Angeles is very unsafe, and we are under siege. There is no public safety by these un-American, unpatriotic Los Angeles City Council assholes. Poverty and homelessness now dominates all of Los Angeles and California. Thus, let us recall all these corrupted, freeloading motherfuckers. And they are Eric Garcetti.
Okay, ma'am, if you're going to yell into this microphone, we're going to cut your time.
Heil Hitler, the Fourth fucking Reich.
Okay.
Public servant for the...
Okay, cut her time. Cut the mic. Thank you very much. Ma'am, your time is up. Ma'am, we don't yell into the microphone. Sergeants, please escort her out. You're disrupting this meeting. Please escort her out. Sergeants, escort her out immediately. She's continuing to disrupt this meeting. Oh, thank you very much.
And the speaker is continuing to disrupt the meeting as she is escorted out.
Yeah, not to mention it's hate speech. Might be protected, but it's not respected.
And she's still shouting.
All right. Thank you very much,
she's shouting
ma'am.
as she leaves the room.
Have a good day.
Disrupting the meeting.
Thank you very much.
And continuing to do it as she
Thank
goes.
you.
I don't know if the mic can pick it up, but she's shouting all the way out.
All right, I'd like to ask Roxanne Stroska to please come on up for general public comment. Thank you very much. Thanks for your patience, ma'am.
Hello, everyone. My name is Roxana Stroska, and I'm here because I support home sharing. About 6 years ago, I depleted my savings trying to get through plan check in order to build an 1,100 square foot house in Mount Washington. My dreams and $58,000 in savings are nothing but 18 rolls of paper like this. It was an impossible task. At that time, my rent was very expensive, and I stumbled across home sharing. This move financially saved my life and allowed me to purchase a home in El Sereno, where I now live. I rent one unit to a veteran on Section 8 and use the income from home sharing to subsidize my tenant's voucher and my housing expenses. Without it, 55% of my income would go to housing costs. This ordinance, as written now, I would have to get a second job, hire a babysitter, never see my son, and live below the poverty line. Please do not pass this ordinance that punishes a single mom like me who is making an honest living.
Great, thank you very much. All right, Mr. Herman, come on up. Armando. Items 1, 2, 8, 39, 40, 41, and 42. And stick to those items. Do not yell on the microphone. If you go off topic, you'll forfeit all your time. Thank you very much.
Well, let's talk about the liens, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about how lien for nuisance abatement costs and the non-compliance of code violations and annual inspections impact the adverse atrocities of, like the woman speaker before me. But let's talk about item 140160 S59, located at 11820 North Louise Avenue, a lien for $932.40. And also, ladies and gentlemen, there's 2 pages of liens here, but let's just stick to the topic of lien item 16016 S9 and CD12 now at 9231 North Verdarian Avenue, a lien only for $2,020.72. And let's also talk about the lien in Jose Huizar's area, which I oppose and am asking for pre-settlement judgment on behalf at 2928 East Cesar East Chavez Avenue, on behalf of 2924 East Cesar East Chavez Avenue, a lien for $1,200 and I believe it's $88.56. We should waive these liens and appeal before a judge to decide whether or not these liens are offensive and against our American rights. After all, these liens are prejudgment against the homeowners. You see, I'm a very nice person. I don't get up here to go rah, 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 rah. And then the last lien for the record I would like to read into public comment is regarding CD2, Paul Kokorian at 12318 West Roscoe Boulevard. This is a small amount of $3,815.89. Now, isn't that offensive when you don't post at the door a registered certified letter to indicate there's a problem of a lien? Now, I find that offensive. And then into my closing comments on items number 42, as brought out, hearing continued hearing, consideration of communication from the Los Angeles Housing Community Investment Department relative to authorization to resume hiring positions funded through the Housing and Community Development Council. But Batman wants you to know there are no opportunities. Fuck you!
Okay, you're done. Thank you very much.
General.
Okay, no, you're done. Sit down. You broke the rules, and I'm not going to tell them to you every single time, every single day, and I've already repeated them 5 times today. So if you want to disrupt the meeting, you'll be asked to leave as well. Thank you very much. All right, the next item, please. We'll turn to item 1. We have a couple of cards on that as well.
And Mr. President, before doing so, the Department of Building and Safety recommends that items 1E, 1I, and 1R be continued to November 3rd.
Okay, that'll be the order without objection. Thank you. Okay, on item number 1, Marina Durazo and Richard Durazo.
Morning, Council.
He's going to do the talking.
We're here to try to get a lien or a waiver on the lien that we have. We cleaned up the property. Before, we've gone to the Department of Building and Safety twice to ask for the lien, and now we're here to take the lien, to ask for a lien again. I don't know what to say. We can't top these guys.
Okay, so the council member of the district had asked if you'd like, we can continue this for 30 days. Her staff will talk to you on the side and work with you with the department and see what can come back if that works for you.
That sounds good.
Okay.
You guys have a tough job.
That'll be November 3rd is 30 days. Okay,
And
so we'll
Mr.
continue
President,
right
for
up.
clarification, that's 1D.
Correct. 1D for 30 days, November 3rd, without objection. That'll be the order on that item. Okay. Okay, we'll go ahead and turn our attention now to 39. Oh, we'll go the rest of item 1. Yeah, we'll go ahead and do that. We'll go ahead and open the roll on item 1. The rest of the balance of those. Close the roll and tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Those are approved. Thank you very much. Okay, next item, please. 39. Okay, 39, 40, 41, and 42. We'll go ahead and open the roll on those items. All right. We'll go ahead and close the roll and tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Thank you. All right. Okay, we'll go ahead and take item 16. 2, 8, and 16. We'll go ahead and take items 2, 8, and 16. Oh, okay. Joe, you called 16 special. Go ahead and let's go to 16 now. So that's before us.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, item before you is the approval of the San Pedro Community Plan update, which has been, and it's in final stages of a planning process that began in San Pedro almost 10 years ago. And over the 10 years, the city planning staff started the initial conversations with the San Pedro community about what it means to live in San Pedro, what makes San Pedro a special place, and how we would like to move in the future. And the plan before us today is a product of that long and thoughtful conversation between planners, residents, business leaders, and the many other voices who played a vital role in making San Pedro a great place. I'd like to salute the many individuals involved in this very important plan for their hard, patient work. But to appreciate this moment, we also have to understand the community plan update and what it means. A plan is not a guarantee of what will happen in the future. Rather, it's a vision document with tools that guide us into the bright future. A community plan marks out what needs to be preserved, and it facilitates change where that change is welcome. A community plan says, this is how we use our land now, and here is how we would like to use it in the future. So what do we want to keep the same in San Pedro, colleagues? In San Pedro, we seek to preserve many of the unique characteristics of each neighborhood, and this plan does just that. The plan supports historic district designations for eligible neighborhoods. The plan also makes sure that we don't lose important industrial districts that provide us with a strong local employment base. And the plan before us will also help San Pedro maintain much of its small-town appeal as the Los Angeles portside community. But the San Pedro community has also spoken clearly and has said that they are hungry for the right change. and this plan will play a large role in how we get there. For example, we have a century-old downtown core with the walkability and sense of history and place that newer cities would die for. We would need more people there, and this plan will help us achieve this by designating downtown San Pedro as LA's select few regional centers where residents can live, work, and tourists can visit and shop, and everyone can gather for community events. In fact, if you look at port communities around the country, take a look at Baltimore, San Francisco, even our neighbors to the south, San Diego and Seattle. Their waterfronts are thriving today because their downtown is built into the waterfront district. Well, colleagues, our downtown is built 24 miles north of us. And this plan will allow us to build our downtown in San Pedro so that we can bring in folks, residents, tourists alike, because in a time where we're adding amenities, waterfront development is alive and well. This plan will help supplement and encourage folks to come down and invest in our historic downtown core. And when I say we need change in our downtown, I mean it literally. We want our historic buildings to be full of financially successful businesses, shops, and cafes. And I especially want to see change during the evening hours in downtown San Pedro. We want to replace the quiet solitude of a harbor night with the right kind of noise, like laughter from people dining on our sidewalks, or applause coming from a local music or the Warner Grand Theater. One opportunity that we had an influence on, and Allison reminds me of, in this plan is to name Rancho San Pedro as an opportunity site. Rancho San Pedro, colleagues, is a public housing site overseen by the Housing Authority. We need to do everything we can to improve the quality of life in this public housing site. And this plan calls for the improvement of Rancho San Pedro. If you look at Rancho San Pedro today, World War II housing stock. No one in this city should live in World War II housing stock, period. You have 22 acres of land adjacent to our waterfront property with only 470 units. In a time where we're thirsting for housing, that's a crime in itself. So I'm happy to see the plan identify Rancho San Pedro as an opportunity site. So with these are big goals, and they don't come true just because a plan wants them to. But this plan is our guide to get there. And I urge my colleagues to approve this plan and help us get on our way. So this is a first community plan that we've seen come before this council in many years. And I want to take a moment to thank the many people who helped us get there. Our planning director, Vince Bertoni, our plum committee led by Chairman Jose Huizar, and my planning staff. I also recognize all the city planners that came to the table to get to where we're at today. Thank you so much for your hard work on behalf of the San Pedro community. I also want to recognize the San Pedro community, neighborhood council leaders, stakeholders, nonprofits, community-based organizations who came to the table and sought to have a reasonable and respectful plan that's before us today. So all your hard work and collaboration have led us here today. Colleagues, I ask for an aye vote. Let's move this plan forward. And also looking forward to work with the city attorney beyond today to get those ordinances back so we can start building in San Pedro. Thank you so much. Ms. Bertoni, a fine Italian-American. Thank you, Vincenzo. Un abbraccio. Grazie, mille grazie. Thank you.
All right. So with that, we have no other speakers on the queue. Thank you very much. We'll go ahead and open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
That is approved. All right. Thank you very much. Next items, please.
Mr. President, there's been a request to send item 43 forthwith, sir.
Without objection, that'll be the order. Thank you very much. Next item, please.
Items 2, 8, and 45 are left before you. 45 is a matter scheduled for closed session.
Okay, we'll go ahead and hold 45 for closed session. We'll go to 2 and 8 now. We'll go ahead and open the roll on 2 and 8. Close the roll and tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
All right. The last item is 45. So we're going to go ahead and go into closed session on item 45. Colleagues, if we can get sergeants to go ahead and clear the council chambers for closed session. We'll go ahead and go into closed session now. Thank you.
Police are investigating a series of bizarre and disturbing attacks that have left children in cities from coast to coast injured and fearing for their safety. As Global's Anna Gebauer tells us, the young victims were targeted simply because of the color of their hair.
Dave Better-in-law, we begin with an Eyewitness News exclusive disturbing video of a gay man being beaten in Queens.
The individual was attacked simply for his orientation, and we're just not going to tolerate it.
The word hate is just unexcusable. It's a word that shouldn't be used, and to hate somebody for the color of their skin is just not right.
It creates fear among all of the community members.
I think it's wrong how people discriminate against others just because of the way they prefer people, as in gays or just their skin color. It's wrong, and something needs to be done. A hate crime is any criminal act directed against a person based on the victim's actual or perceived nationality, religion, sexual orientation, disability, gender, and especially race. Examples of hate crimes include acts which result in injury even if the injury is slight, threats of violence that look like they can be carried out, acts which result in property damage, any criminal act or attempted criminal act, including property damage directed against public or private agencies.
The suspect can spend up to 1 year in jail, and if it's a felony, it could either be between 2 and 4 years for a prison sentence.
If you believe a hate crime has occurred or will occur, you are very much encouraged to contact the Los Angeles Police Department or the We Tip hotline. Public cooperation is often essential in solving hate crimes. We Tip hotline, 909-987-5005.
Property theft has spiked in the area the past year due to easy access for thieves. Almost 80% of car theft occurs because of unlocked doors. Locking your doors takes a matter of seconds and can become so routine that you may forget whether you locked your doors or not. But it's worth the effort to double check. The more successful thieves are at taking items out of a car, the more chances they are going to come back to that area. Don't let our town be that area. One simple precaution is to hide or cover any valuable items when leaving your car unattended. Simple actions like these can prevent you from becoming a victim of property theft. The Los Angeles Police Department would like you to remember, lock it or lose it.
never had a traffic accident like this before, where a teenager has decided to run from the police and been struck by a motor vehicle.
5859 Kia 5060 watch 3. 5060
Curfew laws restrict the right of juveniles to be outdoors or in the public places after 10 p.m. until sunrise the next day. Such laws aim to establish a safer community and to better protect people from becoming victims of crimes or becoming involved in a crime. Most people don't agree with our curfew laws and would rather run the risk of being picked up by the police and ticketed for violation of curfew. However, they are more likely to run into the many real dangers that face us every time we go out at night.
We have found that kids out so late are normally caught up in violence, traffic accidents, and when we up to no good. Some of these kids still they're not aware of the law, and they're not educated on it.
Drinking, drugs, sexual predators, and gang-related activities are only few of the dangers we face regardless of how young or old you are. If you are under the age of 18, this law applies to you. What happens if you are caught? You will be taken to the station where the ticket is written out to you and your parent or guardian are called to pick you up. If your parent cannot pick you up, you will be placed into a protective custody or sent to a juvenile facility.
Guardian at something like an event such as Referral Beach.
The guardian is not just someone appointed to by the parents. A guardian is someone appointed by the courts.
You can legally stay out late if you are participating in a religious, educational, or political activity, accompanied by a parent or guardian, going to or from their place of employment, responding to some type of emergency, returning home from school, cultural, or recreation activity.
And that's our message, is not only enforcing the curfew violation, but also educating them that they need to stay home and stay safe.
The curfew laws are not just here to protect us, they're here to protect the safety of everyone in our community.
Police are investigating a series of bizarre and disturbing attacks that have left children in cities from coast to coast injured and fearing for their safety. As Global's Anna Gebauer tells us, the young victims were targeted simply because of the color of their hair.
They better and well. We begin with an Eyewitness News exclusive disturbing video of a gay man being beaten in Queens.
The individual was attacked simply for his orientation, and we're just not going to tolerate it.
The word hate is just unexcusable. It's a word that shouldn't be used, and to hate somebody for the color of their skin is just not right.
It creates fear among all of the community members.
I think it's wrong how people discriminate against others just because of the way they prefer people, as in gays or just their skin color. It's wrong, and something needs to be done. A hate crime is any criminal act directed against a person based on the victim's actual or perceived nationality, religion, sexual orientation, disability, gender, and especially race. Examples of hate crimes include acts which result in injury even if the injury is slight, threats of violence that look like they can be carried out, acts which result in property damage, any criminal act or attempted criminal act, including property damage directed against public or private agencies.
A suspect can spend up to 1 year in jail, and if it's a felony, it could either be between 2 and 4 years for a prison sentence.
If you believe a hate crime has occurred or will occur, you are very much encouraged to contact the Los Angeles Police Department or the We Tip hotline. Public cooperation is often essential in solving hate crimes. We Tip hotline, 909-987-5005.
Property theft has spiked in the area the past year due to easy access for thieves. Almost 80% of car theft occurs because of unlocked doors. Locking your doors takes a matter of seconds and can become so routine that you may forget whether you locked your doors or not. But it's worth the effort to double check. The more successful thieves are at taking items out of a car, the more chances they are going to come back to that area. Don't let our town be that area. One simple precaution is to hide or cover any valuable items when leaving your car unattended. Simple actions like these can prevent you from becoming a victim of property theft. The Los Angeles Police Department would like you to remember, lock it or lose it.
have never had a traffic accident like this before, where a teenager has decided to run from the police and been struck by a motor vehicle.
5859, KF 5060, watch 3. 5060,
Curfew laws restrict the right of juveniles to be outdoors or in the public places after 10 p.m. until sunrise the next day. Such laws aim to establish a safer community and to better protect people from becoming victims of crimes or becoming involved in a crime. Most people don't agree with our curfew laws and would rather run the risk of being picked up by the police and ticketed for violation of curfew. However, they are more likely to run into the many real dangers that face us every time we go out at night.
We found that kids out so late are normally caught up in violence, traffic accidents, and when we up to no good. Some of these kids still they're not aware of the law, and they're not educated on it.
Drinking, drugs, sexual predators, and gang-related activities are only few of the dangers we face regardless of how young or old you are. If you are under the age of 18, this law applies to you. What happens if you are caught? You will be taken to the station where the ticket is written out to you and your parent or guardian are called to pick you up. If your parent cannot pick you up, you will be placed into a protective custody or sent to a juvenile facility.
Guardian at something like an event such as Grill Week.
The guardian is not just someone appointed to by the parents. A guardian is someone appointed by the courts.
You can legally stay out late if you are participating in a religious, educational, or political activity, accompanied by a parent or guardian, going to or from their place of employment, responding to some type of emergency, returning home from school, cultural, or recreation activity.
And that's our message, is not only enforcing the curfew violation, but also educating them that they need to stay home and stay safe.
The curfew laws are not just here to protect us, they are here to protect the safety of everyone in our community.
Welcome back to the Los Angeles City Council. We're going to go ahead and vote on that last item. We'll go ahead and open the roll.
Mr. President, pardon me. For item 45 in the case entitled William K. Yao versus City of Los Angeles, there is a recommendation to expend $7.5 million in settlement.
Yes, thank you for that. We'll go ahead and open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, thank you very much. All right. Do we have any other items before us?
No, sir. Council has motions for posting and referral.
We'll go ahead and consider those posted and referred.
Desk is clear.
All right, desk is clear. Thank you very much. Colleagues, do we have any announcements? Seeing none. Do we have any adjourning motions? Excuse me, you're sorry, you've already been escorted out of chambers. Now you're disturbing the meeting again. Please escort them out of the building. Out of the building the rest of the day. You're back after you've already been thrown out, Mr. Herman.
And Mr. Herman is continuing to shout.
Escort him outside the building. Do not come back into this building today. You're disrupting the public and you're disrupting the work of the public. So, thank you.
And just in case the mics aren't picking it up, he's shouting all the way out and walking backwards just to slow things down.
Sergeants, please escort him outside the building.
And he's continuing to shout all the way out.
If he comes back into the building today, he will be trespassing. That's a notice to Mr. Herman.
And he's shouting. He's still shouting at the top of his lungs all the way out.
All right. Thank you very much. Sergeants, please let GSD know, as well as LAPD and our security services, that he is not allowed back in this building today. If he's brought back into this building, he will be trespassing. He was already given fair and final warning. He was kicked out of this meeting for disrupting it once, and then came back again, did the same thing again, and that'll be his final notice for today. Okay, colleagues, seeing no announcements, do we have any adjourning motions? Looking to my left, I see none. Looking to my right, I see none. That conclude, we're not going to conclude the agenda yet. I think, let me check in with the clerk. Do we have motions that we're still waiting to circulate? We have motions that are on the... All right, colleagues, actually a number of items that have come up. So we're going to reconsider item 1K. We'll go ahead and open the roll for reconsideration of 1K. Close the roll and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, now we're going to go ahead and continue 1K for 30 days. That'll bring us to November 3rd. So we'll go ahead and, without objection, that'll be the order. Mr. Kokorian, did you have? Okay. And then we have an adjourning motion as well. And so if we can wait a minute, that's being put together. Okay, colleagues, if we can get everybody to please rise for adjourning motions, and Mr. Wesson. Thank you.
Members, there are three things. Well, first, let me just say, I love our jobs. I love what we do, and I truly believe that we are just so blessed to be public servants. But there are three things about our job that disturbs me a lot. Number one would be, I hate to tell a constituent no. Number two is, it really pains me when I have to introduce a reward motion. And I just hurt unbelievably when I have to do an adjourning motion for someone that I can't even describe to you how much I loved. It seems like every time that I've had to do that, I die a little bit myself. So I rise today to attempt to adjourn in the memory of my mother's youngest sister and my aunt Barbara Huff. I unabashedly was her favorite. And she was mine. I think when I was born, she told everybody that I was her child. And we had a special bond from that moment. She had this old blue car that looked like it was handmade, like we had stuck it together with tape and wire. And the back seat of the car, you could pull down. And she would go to the bread store and get day-old bread, Wonder Bread, and a bunch of bologna, and make sandwiches and load all of us up in the car. And then we'd go to the drive-in, and a block before we got to the drive-in, we'd all get in the trunk. And she'd go in the drive-in and let us out. She taught me, I grew up in a family with a lot of strong men, but I think I am the man I am today because of the influences of the women in my life. I used to get in fights all the time because I was so little. I was easy to beat up. I wasn't big. I wasn't strong. And my dad and everybody taught me how to fight Marcus of Queensberry rules. And it was my Aunt Barbara who said, look, you don't need to fight, period. Try to talk your way out of it. And if you cannot talk your way out of it, and I'll just say that, I think that's part of the skills that maybe I have today, where I don't like to see us fight. So we, as a council, creatively look for solutions that we can all agree on. And I got that from her. But she also taught me, when you're trying to talk your way out of it, and you look in that guy's eye, and you know that there's no way to talk your way out of it, then you look for a brick, you look for a bottle, you look for a stick. The hell with the Marcus of Queensberry rules. If somebody wants to kick your butt, then you need to have the reputation. If somebody wants to kick your butt, they're going to have to give up some butt. And she didn't say butt. Now, to Nuri and to Monica, you may find this hard to believe, but I was kryptonite to women when I was young. And it was challenging for me at a young age to have only one girlfriend at a time. And so it was my Aunt Barbara who would protect me from my girlfriends, from their boyfriends, from their brothers, and on 2 occasions, their fathers. She never worried about me because she knew one day I would grow out of this. And I'm proud to say that I'm going on my 37th year of marriage. She taught me at a young age that any man could help make a child, but not every man could be a father. I grew up at a time when there were minimal opportunities for black men in Cleveland, Ohio, where you would work for an auto plant, or you'd work for a factory, or if you were lucky, you would work for post office where you could go to work early and then be finished by noon and you could hang out at the corner pub. But my aunt always thought that that was not for me. I was a dreamer. I wasn't smarter than my cousins. I wasn't more hardworking, but I had dreams. And she always told me that I could go as far as my dreams would take me. And when I decided to come to California, she was one of the few people that not only supported my move, but she believed that I would make it, whereas my uncles were taking bets on how many months I would last out here. She gave me a book, How to Make Friends and Influence People. Every day she gave me some kind of a positive thought, like if you send out a positive vibe, then positive vibes will return to you. At a young age, when I liberated a pint of MD 2020 wine from my uncle's mini mart and drank it and got deathly ill. Anybody would drink anything where the nickname of it is Mad Dog. But she never told my parents. Mr. Krikorian, when I went to the prom, she spit shot my shoes herself, where I could see my face. When all of the guys wore white tux jackets or black, her and my mother found me a canary yellow. And I learned even then that you dress for you. You don't dress for other people. Two years ago, and I thank God that I made this trip, and those of you that know me don't know that at this stage I don't do a lot of traveling, but I went back to Atlanta, which is where she is now. And she didn't know I was coming. And I walked into her house, and she burst into tears, and I hugged her. We hugged each other for what appeared to be an eternity, but today I wish I would have hugged her longer. It was a special relationship. I just will never be able to put into words the effect that she had on me and the various life lessons that I learned from her. Mr. Buscaino, we had a neighbor who was shot and paralyzed by the police. And I don't remember all of the incidents, but I remember my aunt spending hours telling me, when you get stopped, you put your hands on the steering wheel, you look and you, yes sir, you ask for permission. I mean, she gave me life lessons that maybe had somebody else done that for someone else's son, they might be with us today, because it was a tough time. I tore my house up yesterday because she sent me, before she got ill, she sent me a letter that told me that even though we don't talk all the time and even though we don't see each other all the time, I love you very much and I'm very proud of you. And I don't want you to ever let go of your dreams. Members, I don't want to talk about how she died. I want to remember how she lived. And I want to thank each and every one of you for helping me make her proud, for helping her see how far my dreams have taken me to this point. And when I got the call that she passed away last night at 10:15, I had a conversation with her where I indicated that I have more dreams and that I was going to ensure that all of my family and friends that I touch, that I tell them to hold fast to their dreams. She taught me that the impossible was possible. So I rise to adjourn in memory of an individual that, other than my mother, may have had the biggest impact on my life. And I will say, I ain't ashamed to cry, because she loved me unconditionally. She didn't raise no punk. She raised a smart, tough, creative, committed kid that grew up into a man whose life's work has been to make the lives of others better, just like each and every one of you, so that I can turn to my grandchildren and tell them to hold fast to their dreams, and that their dreams can take them any damn where they want to go. So with that, I ask that we adjourn in the memory of one of the greatest women I've ever known in my life, my Aunt Barbara Huff. Thank you very much.
Oh, I love you, Herb. We're adjourned.